Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. And let's just get right into this video. And today's video is of course about Elijah McClain. And I actually feel that I am saddened and I'm sorry that I did not know this name sooner, that I wasn't aware of this situation that happened to this young man by the Aurora Police Department, of the circumstances. The situation happened last August of 2019. Elijah was a 23-year-old young man. He was just going to the convenience store to buy iced tea. You can see the footage and you can look it up. He was at the convenience store just like he said. He bought iced tea, paid for it, was gracious to everyone. The store clerk was interviewed. She said that he was friendly. He came in, he said hello to everyone, he spoke to everyone. This young man is just harmless. He's one of those people that are just harmless. And it's not just like, oh, everybody says he's this and he's that. Like, situation with George Floyd, people bring up, oh, well, he had a criminal record. Well, he did this and he did that. And they try to use that to justify his killing. And with this young man, there's not a criminal history. He used to play violin to kittens in the shelter. He was close to his family. He uplifted people. So he wasn't anyone that was threatening anyway. He was a frail young man. When you see him, you can tell clearly he's not threatening in any way. He's not aggressive in any way. As walking home from the store, police pull up on him. 3 of them. Now, this is a young man that is of a smaller stature, non-threatening, but 3 police are there. They start to question him. He continues to walk, and then he tells him, I have a right to walk home, which he does. He has a right to walk home. The guy tells him, the police officer, I have a right to stop you because you look suspicious. Looking suspicious is not a crime. It's not a crime to look suspicious. What is the crime? Why are you stopping him? These are all people that want to defend the police. You think now it's funny and it's fun and games because the police are not necessarily doing this to you. But then when the police start doing it to you, to your family, to your kids, you're going to sit there and you're going to say, I wish I would have said something back then before it started happening to me. Because although it might be about race, and yes, it's about race. However, do you think that once they sit there and intimidate all of the black people, that they're just going to be like, okay, no, now I want to give up my power? Because this is about a power trip. So once that happened, the power trip will turn to who? The people remaining. And it will be you, the critic, that wants to criticize everything and look at everything and try to give an excuse for their behavior. It will be you. It will be your mother, your brother, your father, your sister, and your children. Because people who are on a power trip, they don't stop just because they run out of victims. No, they make new victims. Anyways, off of the rant and going back to the situation at hand. So he was walking home, told that he was suspicious. And then, of course, the all-time phrase, he was reaching for my gun. He was reaching for my gun. There is 3 of you. 3 of you. So you mean to tell me if one person and you're 3 police officers with guns, with equipment, who are full-on rioters, cannot subdue someone that you suspect of no crime, you just feel like messing with. You can't subdue them peacefully and end up, apprehending them, putting them in the back of your vehicle to harass them, but then leave them alive. You can't do live harassment. It has to be harassment and death. Once he's on the ground, again, the same thing. He continues to beg for his life. He tells them, I am not a threatening person. I stay to myself. I can't breathe. And no reaction. They continue to choke him out, to be on top of him, like the normal scenario that we continue to see. I know being a police officer is to follow the law. It's not to be on a power trip and kill individuals and be a piece of shit human being. And don't tell me that it's a bad apple. I don't want to hear that anymore. In every case that we see, there's a bunch of officers. And one of them aggresses, becomes out of control, and the other officers do what? They don't tell them, no, cut it out. That's not how we do things. Let's stop this. No. They become complicit in the bad behavior. So that one apple rots the whole barrel. So that whole one bad apple analogy is nonsense. It's nonsense. It's not one bad apple. It's a bad apple that rots out the rest of the barrel. That's how it goes. And all the people that want to make excuses for everything. If you are police officers who are afraid to be around any person that is different from you just because of their color, or you think that their behavior is threatening, you don't like their attire, then God damn it, do not become police. Because that's not a profession for the weak of heart or for the weak, period. It's not for you. After he's on the ground being choked out, the paramedics are called and they inject him with ketamine. They don't try to find out if he has any health conditions, if this might be a risk to him. Well, how can they even ask him anything? He's being choked out. At this point, he's not going to be able to talk. The man is choking him out. He's being injected with ketamine until he passes out. He's in the hospital, becomes brain dead, and passes away. His family is called, and they get the message that their family member is in the hospital, brain dead. 6 days later, he's taken off of life support, and he is gone at 23 for being accused of the biggest crime in the United States because he looked suspicious. So for looking suspicious, he was harassed and murdered, and the crime was met by death. The non-crime was met by death. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to justify this, who are going to be offended because they don't want anything to be said about the police. You continue to go ahead and justify their behavior and see what happens next to you. Everything I need to know about how police officers think, just like those police officers, the 3 in North Carolina, who were caught when somebody was doing an audit of cameras. And they were saying they need to kill all black people. Get rid of those N-words. Wipe them 3-4 generations back. You know what 3-4 generations back leads to. I'm going to go and get out my rifle and just start killing them. Police officers. On the force since, one of them was on the force since 1999. And you telling me that somebody that has those kind of ideology and those kind of thoughts was behaving and not being a racist while he was patrolling the streets? Those are the kind of people that you have in the police force. They already come in there, they have these preconceived racist ideology that they then use it in the communities that they work in that happen to be black communities. You cannot work as a police officer in a black community if you think black people are animals. It's not going to work out. Yes, you will murder them. If you're a psychopath that works in a police department that can pull over and tell somebody that you accuse them, another case, accuse somebody of urinating and then ask them to touch the ground into the liquid and lick their fingers, then attack them with your dog, you shouldn't be a police officer. If you're going to sit there and say every few months, a new incident of the disgusting, murderous behavior happened that is just a bad apple, then you are not a human being. Because human beings can relate to other human beings no matter the race. They can relate and they can feel emotions and they can condemn wrongdoings. And then there's other people who pander and want to say that the police is right no matter what the circumstances. Well, to those people who want to always justify their actions, I hope that they murder somebody in your family and you better come out and justify it. You should come out and justify it. I want to know where all these good police are. I would love to know where all these good police are. Not after the fact. Not after the fact. But during the process. If you are in fact a good police officer, when another police officer is doing something that is heinous and being unjust and harassing citizens, why aren't you stepping in and saying no? But then they can't. Because police officers, from reports that we've seen, there's one officer that ended up reporting wrongdoing by another police officer, and he was pulled in by superiors and then eventually pushed out and being told that he was disloyal. And so even the officers that do try to do good, they end up being called disloyal to the blue line of protection and get pushed out. And how can you hold any of these officers accountable? You can't. Not with police unions. Police unions are there as the wall to protect, to ensure that these officers, even when they're fired, they get rehired. They get rehired. They can go, and it can be a consensus that they have did something that is out of the bounds and that is wrong. And the least they can do is get fired for it. But no, the police union won't even let that happen. They'll turn around and get them back the job. Or you'll have officers that get fired from one jurisdiction and then go over to another jurisdiction and get right back hired and do the same thing. That's why you always see on their jackets, 19 complaints, or this officer moved from point A to point B. At point A, they have done the worst stuff possible, and then at point B, now they killed someone. This system needs to be revamped from the ground up. Because the way that it's going right now, you're not serving any community. You're not protecting, and you're not serving. You're murdering, and you're abusing. And that needs to be their new logo, and they should go ahead and change it. If you see this video of this young man and you still want to sit there and defend police, then you should just go ahead and go to hell. Let me know what you think about this case. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.